Namaste, I'm Mona Flynn. Thank you for joining me today for a level 1 class. Today, we are going to make use of a chair, a wall, blocks, and a strap. Just know that these props are optional, allowing us preparations and poses that are typically done without. So find what you can use and recognize that if you're already set up and you just need to walk close to the wall or set up a chair, you don't always have to see. You can just listen and follow, and you'll be able to follow your intuition as well. I am sitting with a blanket, so I'm sitting with height. I'm propping up my feet and wiggling somewhat back, so I am at the top of my sitting bones. The chair supports my shoulder blades. That means my head isn't resting against anything this way, and the back of the neck muscles are doing their thing. And I'm going to bring my hands to a prayer position, parking my forearms against the thighs and pressing down and away. There is a lot going on here. There is a closed chain. That means my feet are against a surface and my hands are against each other, and it creates a closed chain for the nervous system, which allows a quieting, allows the down regulation of the sympathetic system, up regulation of the parasympathetic system. And what that really means is that our heart rate slows down and our blood pressure slows down and our muscle twitch fibers relax a little bit and the body quiets. So drop your gaze, feel the relationships, use your legs into the floor, press your hands lightly into each other. Notice how the arms bearing into the legs press your back body into the surfaces that support them. Then put your mind on that word support. Notice how it lets your mind and body quiet just to hear that word support. Notice what supports you. How your body is using the surfaces is just the beginning. There's the space between us that connects us, that provides support, one person to another, all who are present. The support of your higher power, however you call your higher power. Today, as we continue in our practice, staying present to body and breath, may you enjoy the play involved in using props, finding new ways to do familiar things, that you relax your mind and body and notice what opens today in support of you. Let us begin. As you slide just slightly forward, that means you are going to come away from the back of the chair, and I will be showing from different angles. Send the arms forward and up, come into a little bit of a hinge, put one arm to the inner leg and press. You are not using the chair or the wall. Typically, that backhand will go to the floor and it will press down, and you'll have this great twist where both arms help you in the rotation. But today, I want you to notice with your arm at shoulder height, if you can take that backhand and either find the wall or find some aspect of the chair. So I can rest my elbow and use the edge of the seat. I can rest my elbow and use some aspect of the back leg of the chair. I can slide my arm across. And if that is too high, you can use some aspect of the leg of the chair behind you to help turn the rib cage more and support the strengthening twist. Make this your pose. The legs bear down, the ribs lift, and both arms help you into this twist. Turn your head and look back behind you. Notice the shoulder opening that supports this beginning of our practice. The sense of core engagement that connects you to your inner strength. And then inhale and come out of it. Exhale and switch. Same idea, we're hip hinging. The arm comes low, it presses against the leg. We get to decide where that backhand or that top arm is. And you may be longer in your arm span. You may be with that front hand also at the floor. Any of this leverage will do, but keep playing with what the chair behind you or any surface behind you gives you as an option. The arms together help the ribcage to turn. And in that, you get a little bit more control of how much rotation, whether it's a small range of movement or a big range of movement, it is a strengthening twist. Turn your head and look somewhat back there, use your legs well. And then inhale and slowly come out of it. Very nice. We're going to turn to the side now. So we're going to take on another twist right away, and we'll continue to use the option of the chair. So I'm going to turn this way at first. I'm going to turn sideways to the chair. I want you to notice that I'm still sitting on my blanket, and I'm keeping the knee bent, the knee that is next to the chair, and I'm taking the other leg along so that I can sit tall. Typically in this Marichyasana twist, we would hold the knee with the hand that is opposite the knee. We would take the other arm behind us and we would turn. And what I'm encouraging you to consider is that the arm that's coming across the midline to hold the bent knee, we are turning toward the knee, is that you would take that hand and use some aspect of the chair. You can slide your hand into the seat of the chair. The back hand can still push down into the floor. But if you want it to keep the twist very different, then both hands can use the chair. You can have one hand that pushes and one hand that pulls. The bent knee is right close to and up against the chair. The long leg is reaching. Both sitting bones are even. We get to sit tall and turn on the axis of the spine. This is Marichyasana 3. All the twists that were named for sages. Inhale and come out of this twist. Keep the alignment of your legs and rest your arm in the seat of the chair. Notice that I'm holding on to the edge of the seat of the chair. My bent knee is still right up against the chair, and I get to take the other arm behind me and turn. So this is a little bit more typical. This is a very interesting way to back off and do more with Marichyasana 2. So if you don't have the chair, if you don't have the wall, I'm going to guide you with remembering that you typically will park the elbow inside the knee and return any amount and let both arms still participate in encouraging the turn of the rib cage and calling on the inner core, the core work that becomes a strengthening twist. But if that arm instead were in the seat of the chair, the leverage pattern changes. You might be able to sit a little bit taller. The fingers are more in charge of tugging against the edge of the seat. And it's nice to have variety. It's only good for us. Very nice. Stay one more breath. You can turn your head and look back behind, letting the neck participate more in this twist. And relax. That means to get to the other side, we're just going to simply swivel. And what I'm going to do is slide my blanket all the way to the other end so it's not in the way of my feet. And I'm just going to simply turn around. I want that same setup. My bent knee is sitting right against the chair, and my long leg ahead of me is with legs hip width apart. Yeah? And we're turning first toward the chair, so toward the knee. That means if you are not using those extra props, you'll hold on to the knee with the opposite hand. I have my left knee bent and my right arm holding. And if you are using your chair, then you can slide the hand into the seat of the chair and keep walking it until you find some aspect of the chair to really hold on to that you prefer. The other option on the other side was to take the back hand instead of propping down and pushing the floor, to put that arm also in the chair and use some aspect of the chair so that your twist allows you a push-pull with the arms. So if I were to show you from the side, this way, what that looks like. So sometimes I'll turn this way. For those of you who are watching the screen, that means I still have a push-pull and I'm using the legs and the side of the chair to turn toward the bent knee. Sit nice and tall, reach into the long leg, lift the ribs, turn your head any amount. And then know that you are turning away from the knee. So as you begin to unwind and rest the arm in the seat of the chair, I have my left knee bent and propped up on the floor, and I have my left arm resting in the seat of the chair. My elbow is bent and my fingers curl around the edge, and the other arm goes behind, and we get to sit nice and tall and turn. These wonderful strengthening twists. Again, if you don't have the chair, you're parking the elbow to the inside, sitting tall, turning on the axis of the spine. I'll remind us that this form of Marichyasana, it is not about going as far as you absolutely can. It's about focusing on length in the spine, the lift of the rib cage, the space, while we are engaged in a strengthening twist. So we get to strengthen the sides of the rib cage, you can tell. And how you use the chair, how much you turn, the amount of engagement, turning the head as well. All of these are ways to make this pose unique to you. Very nice. And inhale and nod it. Beautiful. So we're going to adjust the position of the blanket, and we're going to take on camel pose, and feeling as if we have a little bit of a back bending action, inviting the opening of the heart and the opening of the front body. I'm moving my chair and using my cabinet as my wall. So I'm going to use the blanket, taking the blanket and folding it again. This is typically up to you if you would like to do this. And folding it so that it rests under my shins. It's an option. If you don't have the chair, you can simply use your blocks, and you can do without, right? You'll have different responsibility of internal action. I'm using my shins as a blanket. The blanket comes to the edge of my ankle and keeps it kind on the ankle and kind on the knee. And I can find the seat of the chair behind me. That's going to come in handy. As you lift your gaze any amount, meaning don't drop your head back, you can lift your chin, or you can just look up with your eyes. There's this sense of lift in the body right away. The shins press back. The tailbone lengthens down. We can use the chair or the surface behind us, the arms, in a myriad of ways. If we didn't use anything, we still rely on shins pressing back And I want to take the arms down and back and just notice how the front body lengthens and lifts and the heart is lifting. So this would be a great preparation all by itself. I can find some aspect of the chair. If you're not finding it, you might need to be closer to the chair. You might need to come a little bit closer underneath so that you can count on any aspect of the chair. Because the idea is twofold. I want to press back, and I can help my lower back by pushing down. And if I keep both of those actions, I can keep sending these hip points forward. I can keep lifting the ribs and lifting the sternum, lifting the heart, and staying open in the front body especially, lifting the gaze along with. It's a wonderful way to lift emotion. Sometimes we need to protect the energy of the body. And if you feel vulnerable, that you need to save your energy, you would want to do some things that go the other way. A child's pose, a downward facing dog, a supported pose where you are closing and supporting the front body. But once in a while, when you open to possibility and you help yourself to lift emotion. It can be something this simple. Throw it in the collarbones. Don't make it more than it has to be. Recognize that if you're feeling stronger today, you come and go. You can always drop it down. You can find the legs. If you drop back, keep shifting forward. Keep asking for this back bend where the heart lifts and leaves. Yeah. We're going to bring the hands in front of us. We're going to take a break and we're going to do that puppy pose. I want to walk my hands ahead, plant the toes, and shift my body weight back. I'm still looking slightly ahead. Be careful not to hang the head down. You can look to your thumbs maybe. But notice how planting your toes will stretch the soles of the feet. You can send the sitting bones up and back. It is a little bit of a recovery. It makes sure you are not overdoing. And we're going to come back upright and continue onwards. So I want to, in coming upright, send the arms ahead. The shins press down and back, and I can drop my body weight back, and this makes it more of a core supported front and back in an equal kind of way. It's a great preparation, but it gives us a chance to find the chair easily and then to keep going back to, but I want to be perpendicular through the lower body. The front arm can reach up, but today I want the chair to help us with control of the lower body. So what we can do is turn the upper body in the direction of the back hand. So my pelvis, I'm working on it. I'm aiming to keep the pelvis square. I'm using the hand in the chair for control. I am aiming to turn mostly from the upper body, let the top arm reach up, and therefore the shins still press down and back, and there's a little bit of control. We've added a twist to the back bending aspect of camel pose. And we're not exaggerating this pose at all. We are not making the back bend extreme. We are holding on to an element of back bending and we're adding a twist. It's strengthening. Nice. Take the arms ahead. Return to that symmetry. Drop the body weight back. Take the other arm behind you. You might find the seat of the chair. Some of you will find the legs of the chair. The arm doesn't have to be high. It can be rather low, but shift the pelvis forward best you can. Resolve to stay square. Lift the front arm, reach it up, let it participate and lift. Turn your head and then turn from the upper body and your mount. Be kind to yourself. Keep the legs, your foundation, you make sure they're on, the shin pressed down and back. It takes a little bit of courage, not just a little bit of energy, to take on back bending poses, but about half of our poses fall into that category. So we can't avoid them, we need them more than we realize. Back to center. Then send the arms forward, back into that puppy pose. Realize that we need to spend ample time in these poses with these transitions. So again, there's no overdoing. My toes are planted. I'm sending my sitting bones up. The collarbones are spread. The neck is neutral. Relax the top of your feet. Notice what it's like from here, how you transfer more weight into your hands. On any given day, you can decide that you don't want to use your toes, that you just want to keep the shins pressing back. There's always a trade-off, always a trade-off. So now we're going to make our way to sitting. The chair is behind you, those of you who have it. And it's just a matter of planting one foot, bearing into the hands behind you, and coming to sit. I'm going to move the blanket out from being underneath me, move it out of the way. And then I'm going to switch in just a little bit where I am using the wall, all right? So remember, they're optional. I want to slide the arms behind me and take one leg long. And we are still embracing back bending, but the support of our arms now is different. I want to push down and lift. And in doing so, any amount of lift, and in doing so, maybe walking my feet a little bit further so that I use the length of my body's levers. However long your legs are, a little bend between that. And then come on back, as well as the length of your torso, the length of your arms. Nice. Sitting with symmetry, notice where your hands are, and wherever they are, slide them a little bit further back. We typically do this work from the floor, if that is your preference. In sliding your hands back, I am asking the shoulders to this greater external rotation. Lift your gaze, bear down, keep the legs on, and just notice that this by itself holds all of the elements of the back bending action. I'm not turning out in my ankles or my knees. If what you need to do is look straight ahead and not lift your gaze, let your neck tell you. But recognize that you are erasing a little bit of the rounding of the shoulders every time that you embrace a back bending kind of support. Okay, let's do the other side. Let your body tell your hands where to be. Take the other leg along. Any amount of push, meaning you could stay in the chair and just make your sitting bones lighter by pushing into your hands. If you are coming out of the chair, walk both feet ahead, check that out, and any amount of lift. We are not dropping our head back, deciding where we need to lift the head, and then very slowly coming down. This time, just to make sure we have a recovery, I'm sliding my hands a little bit higher, coming into this hip hinge, letting the hands hold on, fingers hold on, everything else gets to let go, talk yourself into it, because from this position, we are tractioning the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, and mostly the neck, but generally the spine, because we just counted on all of those areas, and we need to make sure there's no overdoing, that we return them to this great unit. And slowly come on up. Now, I want you please to turn your chair so that it is sideways to the wall. And I am going to show us from this position, I'm going to turn my chair so that it is here, sideways to the wall. And there's room for me to scoot over and leave one leg supported in the chair. I have a thigh in the chair, and I have the inside leg between me and the wall. It's going to go down. So I can play with that. And if what that means is that your knee is underneath you at 90, that means you're really going to work on using those toes. And if what that means is that you are high enough in the chair or that your lower back can tolerate the stretch, that you can straighten the leg behind you, right? It needs more lower back bending, then please make this about what is accessible to you today. Great. Your hand will use the wall and you'll slide forward any amount. Here comes this lunge. And you'll use the back of the chair with the other arm. So one hand uses the wall in front and it pushes into the wall. And if you didn't have the chair, if you're not using the wall, you would be putting your bottom hand at the block or at the floor in front of you in this lunge. But we get to stay a little higher in this lunge, turn on the axis of the spine, and use the back hand for traction and leverage. I can catch hold any aspect of the chair and turn out. Beautiful. It's a nice surprise, a wonderful variation on revolved side angle pose. It's easy to lean back, but I want to stay turning on the axis of the spine. And before we give this away, we're going to use our legs in a purposeful, specific way. We're going to pull our legs toward each other, lengthen our spine. My back elbow is bent because I'm trying to pull myself into this twist. And depending on the size of the chair and the size of you, if you have a bent elbow or a straight arm, doesn't matter. Right? Inhale and kimono. And exhale and switch. Please do this. Slide away from the wall. We're going to do all of this on the other side, but we're going to do two poses while we're over here. So we did revolved side angle pose, and now we're going to do gate pose. Showing you from this angle, I am sitting still with my thigh at one sitting bone in the chair. But this time I took the other leg along. My toes are with the wall, and I'm going to take my arms high. And it's rather interesting to keep it simple and just feel the effect of the toes. So if propping the foot up this way is just too much, you can ignore the wall. You can place the foot with the floor, bear down. You can place the heel as long as that's not overbearing. But when we put our toes with the wall and push into our toes, that begins to talk to the rest of the body, yeah? And then we are coming into this side bend, and the lower arm gets to use some aspect of the wall. I'm just using my cabinet. The top arm can come over any amount. Today, I'm going to encourage us to turn the palm up and notice the effect on the shoulder, and to turn, look underneath the armpit and away. The legs are on, side body is long. There's a lot going on here. Beautiful. And if you can find some aspect of the chair with the top arm, we're using that to back off. I can reach back and catch hold and give myself this chance to not collapse on this side, but to have traction while I'm trying to get all the way over here to this foot. It's just a sneaky way to add a different leverage pattern. Okay. Turn your head and look down. Turn your head and look up. We have one more thing to do here in gate pose, Parikrasana, and that is to take the top arm back up, to rely on the feet a little bit more like we had. And now to turn the entire upper body so that we're looking at our foot and we're square, and both arms might make it to the wall. They might be pushing the wall. If you don't quite make it to the wall, it is okay. But notice this really big stretch through the back of your rib cage. It should feel fantastic. Inhale, bring the upper body back to its position. Continue the inhale, reach up as if someone is drawing on those puppet strings, and then release. So we are going to do the other side as you sit comfortably centered in your chair. Sit back. Lift the arms one more time and open. And just notice the support of the back of the chair at your shoulder blades and then some. And use it for momentum. Exhale, push into your feet. Come on up and open. Wow. We get to readjust. So if what you need to do is turn your chair around, please do. I'm going to turn and use the chair for the other side. And I might be hiding some of what I do, but I hope my words are going to get you there, not just the experience of what you did on the other side. I'm moving these blocks out of my way. So now I'm sliding closer to the wall. I'm going to sit so that I have one thigh supported. There's space between me and the wall. And I am dropping my outside leg, the one that's between me and the wall, and it's looking like a bent knee, toes propped up. That's what it's looking like. Yours could even be, we could go to making it more of a straight leg behind us. Do what you need, all right? We are hip hinging. Using the hand with the wall to push into the wall as far forward as you can stand to be, and taking the outside hand and catching the chair. Isn't it interesting that we are supported, our sitting bone is supported, the thigh is supported, the hip is supported, but the legs are still on. So play with what the back arm is doing. Do you want to bend in the elbow and tug and pull yourself into this twist? How much do you rely on the wall? Recognize that typically you would use this front hand to the block or to the outer leg. Any of that would do. There are always options. But considering that we have a wall today, that was the aim. I want that arm to push against the wall, right? It's not always about how low you can go or how deep you can twist. The journey is the journey. The places along the way that provide us leverage also provide us support and gives our curious mind a way to learn more about ourselves. Turn your head and look back. And slowly come out of it. Great work, everyone. So from here, we're going to slide into the seat of the chair and recognize that we're going to scoot away from the wall, because though we want to come back to, oh, but my thigh is supported and I only have the sitting bone in the chair, I also am sitting at my leg's length. So leg out to the side, toes planted at the wall, arms are high. And I'll show you again for those of you who are using the screen, that what you are looking like is one thigh supported in the chair. Long leg is with the toes on the wall, supposedly, and the arms are high. And we are using this to elongate first and then to come over and park the hand into the wall. I'm going to set myself there again and join you, because it is only wise to try and do exactly the same on the other side. If by chance you started without the wall, then you will still be with that same aim to treat both sides equally about that, right? So while you have the side bend, while you play with how you use your toes, where you position your foot, take that top arm over as well. And consider turning the palm up just to affect a greater stretch. It's very easy to allow the bottom arm, that shoulder, to ride up close to the ear. So I am informing all of us, right? Reminding us. And then, if you will, take that top arm and swing it somewhat back and consider, oh, but no, I could use the chair. And when I do, then I have a little bit more control and there is more opening and there is traction for the shoulder. You could hook the elbow, you can use catching the edge of the seat or the leg of the chair. Yep. It's easy to forget. Keep your mind on your body. How am I using my legs? What are my arms doing? And then inhale, lift that outside arm back to the ceiling. Turn and put both hands aiming to the wall. Stay and breathe. Stay long through the torso. Notice how the stretch and the breath go to the back of the rib cage. It is too easy to hang the head. Keeping the neck neutral. This is a nice place to build time. As you inhale, slowly return. Take that top arm up, turn the palm away. That's what you enjoyed. Stay another breath here. Reclaim all of those great actions. You can turn and look back behind you underneath that armpit. And then continue with the next inhale and come all the way up and invite the arms back. Recognize that this pose does fall into the category of back bending. It does. We have all the sensation, the elements for it. Beautiful. And slide back to the center of the chair. So again, sit well back in the chair. We are all sideways to the wall. There's no wall behind us. Take the arms up, turn the palms back. Notice the supported back again. And we want to use momentum. So exhale there into your legs. Come through, powerful pose. Find that back bend again. And remember, be responsible, don't overdo, right? It's easy to take this further. There's no support here. There's your intelligence and support. And exhale and sit. Beautiful. One more time. Inhale and open. Exhale, remember this end point. Try to reclaim it. Bringing the shoulder blades to the rib cage. Very nice. And release. Fantastic. So now, we want the chair in front of us, and we want the wall behind us, and we want to come into this plank position so that we put our hands in the seat of the chair, and leave the heels on the wall and the toes on the floor. And I want you to feel a sense of support and control, meaning your hands should be with this alignment underneath your shoulders so you don't feel like it's going to get away from you. As you lift the sitting bones, come into your downward facing dog, all of a sudden you have this really short dog pose. Your legs might come right up against the wall, roll the shoulders to the periphery of the rib cage. Wow, what a great support for your feet. They get some work to do in this high heeled position with support. That is hanging. You have a very short dog pose. Inhale, come back. Great. You're going to be able to adjust now in your feet. Come back into your downward facing dog. Place one foot at the floor. Sole of the foot on the floor, then the other foot, sole of the foot on the floor. And your sitting bones should come against the wall. Lift your head and look to your hands. You're counting on the sticky mat. Please move your hands to the front edge of the chair so you're a little higher, and press your sitting bones back and up into the wall. So I'm going to turn now and show you from this angle. There won't be a wall behind me. You should have a short dog pose and your legs are perpendicular. I move my hands from the side to the front. And so I'm a little higher in my body, look slightly ahead, maybe to the far edge of the chair. And keep broad, long neck, shoulders open, your heels anchored, sitting bones lifted. And this is a really wonderful hamstring lengthening Here comes the fun. Take one leg forward. Doesn't matter which leg. Both legs are straight. And what you'll find as you come a little bit higher in your head and in your body is that the back leg is both on the floor and against the wall. And for just a short while, just make it a point to press back. The back of the heel presses into the wall, and wow, the calf is stretching deeply. Now, let's use the chair more specifically. I am moving the chair ahead. And in doing that, I am playing with where that front leg can be. We are doing revolved triangle. And we'll come to this place where we take the edge off and lift the back heel. Do that as you need. But until you get to that place, try to stay with the floor and recognize that we're going to use the chair, each of us individually, to meet our needs. So I want to turn in the direction of the front leg. I have my left leg forward, and I can play around. I can say, oh, my right arm is going to go to the front of the back of the chair, and I'm going to come around, and I get this really great stretch through the right side of my body. I can take that right arm and rest it in the seat of the chair, and take the left hand and catch the back of the chair and keep turning, keep turning. I can find some in-between aspects so that I can just keep doing this push-pull between my hands and making it what it can stand to be, right? This is your practice. Back is straight, aiming to anchor the back inner heel, inviting that front hip back, opening up from the back of the knees. This is a lot, right? We're backing off to do more. Come unwinding. Bend in the front knee. Lift the back heel, put it with the wall. Keep your hands at the chair. And notice if what you can do is to move the front foot further forward so that you have a deeper lunge. Yeah? Come upright. Bear into the back heel. Using the chair is only wonderful in this warrior one. But while the chair is at your arm's reach, in case you lose your balance, you can put your hands right in the chair. I am asking you to take the arms wide, to come upright. You're relying on the stability provided by the back leg, and to lift the arms high. And what I hope you notice is that warrior one most definitely is a back bend. Draw the ribs back to make it more about the hip opening. Keep the back heel with the wall. Take the arms wide. Take the arms back. Clasp them together if you wish. Beautiful. And then slide the arms forward. Put your hands in the seat of the chair. Step the front leg back and the back leg forward. And we're not taking on a huge stance right away. We are adjusting the back leg. I want to bring my back leg so the foot is flat with the floor. I want my back heel to be using the wall to press back. Okay, I'm going to try to stay right here and stay with you. The pelvis is square. Front spine is lengthening. We are not walking the tightrope. And at first, we can take one arm ahead, the arm that belongs to the back leg. I have my left leg back, so my left arm reaches forward. And I can take that arm in front and walk it around to the corner and begin to invite rotation into the spine with traction. How nice. And just breathe. If you are inclined to fold a little bit deeper, just notice that arm can come into the seat of the chair. The other one can begin to explore how you catch any other aspect of the chair and turn. The weight is to the inner heel of the legs. I'm inviting that front foot back, trying to turn on the axis of the spine, finding any aspect of the chair to continue using for variety and leverage. This is a strengthening twist for sure. Back off where you need. Inhale, come on, unwinding. Very nice, everyone. Place your hands in the seat of the chair, lift the back heel, put it on the wall. Very nice. And continue by walking that front foot a little bit deeper, bending in the front knee, and realizing that, wow, we have this great leverage for stability. Just to keep the back heel pressing into the wall gives us stability. Remember, the chair is at your arm's length. Putting your hands down is accessible. If you are ready to come upright, take the arms wide, take the arms high, open any amount, keep using what you practiced before, turning the palms back, inviting the arms back. But as you explore there, invite the ribs back, right? Invite the ribs back and see what happens. It becomes more about hip opening. Take the arms down and back, keep opening the front of the chest, keep reaching down and back. Clasping the hands together is an option. Exhaling to send the arms forward. Come find the chair and return please to your long plank. We're not going to stay with the wall. We're going to come over the wrists with our shoulders. We're going to bend in the elbows a little bit. We're going to wiggle into this upward facing dog. Here we are again in a back bend. What I think you may already know, and some of you are already practicing, is that you can take one foot and put it so that the top of the foot is at the floor, one foot pushes and the other one pulls. And we are relying on our arms more. Back off into your downward facing dog whenever you need. You can play then with turning the other foot so you're on the top of one foot, you're on the toes of the other foot. And you know, in the long run, you can put the top of the feet on the floor and pull yourself forward into this greater back bend, right? Come into your downward dog. Lift your gaze up ahead. Make your feet wider, bend in your knees just that little bit. Send the sitting bones back. Keep shifting your weight back and lift the arms. And slowly come on up. Very nice. So now the chair goes against the wall. And I'm going to use this wall. The strap comes in handy now. We are doing legs in the chair. And I'm going to use my blanket in the seat of the chair. My blanket in the seat of the chair is going to be just the right height for me. And having the strap handy, you might decide that you want the blanket at the floor so you can park it underneath the pelvis. Some of you will find that you'd like support under your head. And as you get to the floor, as you come to the side, we want to wiggle. We want to wiggle so that we are close to the chair. And then we can keep coming on down onto our side and roll so that we end up with legs in the chair. How wonderful is that? While we are here, making sure the neck and the head are supported, we'll take the time to open up the strap. I always have a loop in my buckle so I can open it up to the size that I need. I'm going to swing my legs into it. And then adjusting to bind the legs really close to the fold of the hip. Then taking the tail and continuing to wrap these mermaid style legs, depending on the length of your strap and the length of your limbs, how much space you cover, and then tuck the tail. You can bind the thighs, you can bind the shins, all the way to ankle. Just rest. Allow the arms to go wherever you wish, whether it is a goalpost style position, hands at the belly, arms overhead. But allow your body to quiet. Bring your focus back to your breath. You are welcome to stay here and build time. Remember this beautiful pose, and when you put it into practice on any given day, it is this really wonderful place that supports the spine, allows the nervous system to quiet. It is a passive inversion, so there's great cardiovascular benefit as well. Your body continues to settle in with this deeper lower back stretch. The more you stay. When you're ready to come out of it, if you'll bring the knees to you and begin to undo the binding of the strap. And as you do, please consider this. Slide your feet to the edges of the chair. And if you are in such a deep squat that that doesn't work for you, then take the time to wiggle away until you can be here and let your feet push in, because the wall is behind the chair and it's not letting the chair tip. And for today, if you'll bring your arms against your legs, bring your hands into prayer. Just notice how similar this is to our starting position. It feels good. There is still the support and a closed chain. In all the ways that you are supported, allow your mind and your heart to be at ease. When you're ready, roll to one side. Press up and sit when you're ready. Sit comfortably. Your hands to your heart once more to seal your practice. Thank you for your beautiful energy, your presence. Namaste.